Good morning. It's Saturday, March 4th, and it is a snowy day here in Scranton, so I had to get my ring light out today so you get to see that shining in my eyes, which I think is so weird, but what can you do? This is Katie Carney, and this is Katie Carney Stitching, and this is my Flosstube number 77. Where does the time go? Just a little FYI, I recorded this last weekend and it was like my best floss tube ever. I had a lot to show you. I thought that I was funny and charming and whatever. Stopped recording 16 minutes in. And I was so disgusted that I didn't re-record on Sunday. And then every night all week I was going to record, and I was just so tired this week. I had no gas in the tank. I came home from work and I got dinner on the table. 2 nights it was takeout. I got to the gym twice, but really other than that, I came home and just kind of sat, a little bit of stitching, not too much. I think it's the weather, and then obviously I'm a woman, so it's hormonal. And it was just a rough week of exhaustion for me. And today's Saturday, and I feel pretty good today. Mark and I will leave later this afternoon for the orchestra, so I do have that to look forward to. We actually have a show a week for like 8 weeks, I think, which is a lot. Hang on one second, my grandmother's yelling. Sorry about that. We had a very windy night last night. My grandmother discovered that our recycling bin blew across the porch and she was shocked. I'm sure you could hear that. So anyway, we have the orchestra like 8 weeks in a row, and so we leave at like 2:30ish in the afternoon and we get home around 1, and then Sundays I'm just kind of like useless. It's wonderful, and I have no complaints, but it also means that a couple days during the week I'm tired from that, and then I don't get anything done. So my goal today, I have to get to the grocery store, but we had an ice storm last night, so I am waiting, and that's why I'm filming now. And then hopefully I'll get to the store and get a little bit of work done around the house. I'm just so lazy, guys. I am. I hate that about myself, but I am. Anyway, I hope you're all well, and let's get to it. So my first thing that I was going to show you last week was my FFO, and I picked up Welcome to Hogwarts from Hobby Lobby, and I think it looks wonderful. So this frame I just bought on the rack, and then I'm horrible at picking out colors, so I just looked at the framer and I was like, help me pick a mat, and he did. So it's a purple. Obviously this is just the glass it came with, so it's a purple mat, which I think the darker, it's like a plum, I think that looks good with the color scheme. Sorry about my ring light. So yeah, that's Welcome to Hogwarts. And then I always try to tell you all how much framing costs, because I think it's at least I've noticed it's kind of taboo. People don't want to talk about it because it is expensive. I'm very lucky. There are 2 framers at my Hobby Lobby. One who has worked for Hobby Lobby for 16 years as a framer. They send their framers. Hobby Lobby started off as a framing store and has grown and changed and is constantly changing, but my framer went to Oklahoma and learned how to frame, so he does a wonderful job. And then he has someone who also is well trained, who actually framed this, and there was a slight issue with it when I went to pick it up the first time, but they fixed it, no problem. I've had this, Welcome to the Shire, Lady of the Flag was very expensive, and I feel like I've had something else framed. Oh, Consider the Lilies I've had framed there. So this cost $43.99. That includes the frame, which if you buy a pre-made frame, they're 50% off no matter what. So the frame was $15.99. I think it was $15 to pin it, and then I think the mat was $10, and then the hardware was $3. So it was $43.99. I did some of the math. The week I went, frames were 40% off, so the frame would have been more expensive. I would have had to have the matte cut because obviously you want the beveled edge. That's that white. So a beveled blade for a framer, they're very expensive, and you can only get a couple cuts out of them before they start to not be beveled anymore. I used to frame for work. I have a history degree and I worked in museums, so I did some framing. And beveled edges are very hard to cut. You have to use a special blade and a special machine and the whole thing. So the fact that that only cost me $10 to have them do it is great. So yeah, I could not have done this nicely on my own for $43.99. So anyway, my long-term goal is here where the pink wall is. I'm gonna hang all of these. I think this is the only one I'm gonna do this big. This is an 11 by 14. I think the rest I'm hoping to fit in an 8 by 10 frame and not have a mat, but we'll see. Because there's this one, there's Diagon Alley, the Hogwarts Express, and I think there's one other one. I think there's 4. Yeah, Hogsmeade. I love Hogsmeade. Anyway, the thought is that I'll put them all there. But for now, where I'm sitting right in front of me, there's 2 windows, and in between the windows I currently have a picture of Mark and I that I'm just gonna take down and put this here. Hang on one second. Sorry, I'm like very nervous that this is gonna stop recording again. So whenever I think last time I got a notification from the computer and it stopped it and I didn't know, so I'm like, gotta check. So anyway, welcome to Hogwarts. I think it looks great. Hopefully YouTube picks this as my screen grab. Okay, now, the last time you saw me, I've had a lot of whips since then because 1, it's been a while since I saw you, and 2, the 20 projects that I'm working on this year and asking the house robot, Alexa, to pick my next project is working really well and I love it. So highly recommend. I will say my new starts, when I've been in the mood to start a new start, I have, instead of having her pick, I've just done it. And that's just because I'm not always in the mood for a new start because I'm lazy and I don't want to have to put floss on thread drops all the time. Anyway, as I said, Mark and I have been traveling a lot to Philadelphia, so I have been working on my socks. So you saw this. This is the finished one for my brother. And then I finished the leg on the second sock. And then you can just barely see I have about 3 rows of the heel flap done. And the heel flap is this right here. So it just goes straight down and then you turn the heel, and that's the magic of socks. One of my coworkers actually asked me to, she can do some basic knitting, but she wants to make a hat. So I'm actually going to teach her how to do that. So I'm very excited. I love making new knitters. I think, so cross stitch isn't hard. Obviously just the basic cross stitch is very, very easy. But with knitting, you know, you're making a garment, so there's a little more stress to it. So it's a little harder to make a new knitter. So I'm very, very excited to teach her how to do that on Tuesday. So wish me luck. Okay, now on to my second whip, which you guys had seen last time, but I did finish it up. Finish up the section I was on. There are no finishes. There might not be finishes all year. But anyway, it's autumn at Hawk Run Hollow. My goal for this project was to finish the border, which I have done. I am leaving off 2 blocks. I am leaving off the owls here, and I am leaving off the turkey here. So mine will have 10 blocks instead of 12. Well, it has 10 blocks. I was like gangbusters on this project. And then my friends, I messed up the border at the bottom corner. So down here, this right here, 3 times. I had to rip it out 3 times. I was off by 1, I was off by half, I was off by half on the other side. And like, it's the border. It's got to meet. So let me tell you, when I finally finished this, I was ready to be done with this for a while. So this will come out again. I will work through all 20 of my projects, which I'm hoping to do by June so that everything gets worked on twice. So anyway, here's my Autumn at Hawk Run hollow. And then my plan today is to cut off the excess fabric. So it looks great. I am using, I'm 90% certain this is the called for, which is oh my goodness, what's the called for? It's a 40 count sand dune. There we go. So, like I said, my goal, I want to cut, this is a lot of, I could do a lot of like ornaments and stuff with that. So I do want to cut that before I put it away. And that is being kept in my lovely Rika project folder. So that is Autumn at Hawk Run Hollow. So yeah, that's that. That's my first whip. And a pretty old one. I haven't worked on that in over a month, I think. After that, we called, I think I did it live, Coming to America. And I think I told you all that my plan was I wanted to work on the ship and the water, which I did. And then I think I also told you that I had decided that I'm going to leave off the names. This is a very big piece, and I don't have any family members. Like, my family is pretty new to the United States. Not really, but we did not come on the Mayflower. Like, it's not been 400 years. It's been more like 170, 150, and then, 100 for, like, my grandmother's family. So, anyway, I am using the called for flosses for this, which is a mix of all different kinds. They're very pretty. And this was kitted up by Dreama in a cross-stitch shop in Baltimore, and I highly recommend her. You can call and order everything over the phone. And I am using a vintage 36 count vintage country mocha for this, and I got a lot done. Another fabric that I need to trim, that this I probably won't trim though until the border's all in. So I had the man and the top of the ship done. So I did the ship, and that was very, very quick. And I did the water and Cape Cod. And the way my hoop was sitting, where I stopped stitching, was where I could get to. So my plan had been to move the hoop and then go over there, and instead my furnace broke. So I was working on this kind of gangbusters, had been to Philly, I was at the grocery store, and all of a sudden my grandmother calls me and she goes, 64 degrees in the house. Now I keep it 64 up here. She keeps it 69 downstairs. So 64 is pretty cold for an old woman. So Mark came down and he checked the furnace, and it was definitely broken. He did fix it, but it took several days. It was 55 degrees in the house. I could not stitch. Everybody was cold. Everybody was tired. It was just rough. So that week, I think he fixed it on Valentine's Day. And I think on Tuesday, that was Tuesday. On Wednesday, I did her. And I was like, I can't. I'm so done with this piece. Because what I had planned to do was to finish down to the 1620, so that the next time all that was left was this, which would be like 100 stitches down. Still a lot, but I wanted to finish this year. I still might, we don't know. So I have to finish. Oh, and I left these weird little fish off on the banner. I just did the banner. I have to do 2/3 of this part here and finish off this. But that'll be for the next time. So that is Coming to America. by With a Needle and Thread. And like I said, I'm using the called for flosses and the 36 count vintage country mocha, and I'm leaving about half the project off. And I do really like this piece, so I've enjoyed stitching on it more than I thought I would. Well, yeah, the 36 count, after working on the 40 and then just doing a border, the 36 count was easier because it's a little looser, and then also was not as like stressful. Because it was 36, it was easy to see. The stitches were big. The motifs are pretty big. So like I said, it was easy to work on. Highly recommend. Okay, so my next whip is actually my Prairie Schooler Santa. Eventually this will come up in my rotation. It hasn't yet, but it is my like at somebody's house, meet someone for coffee, very easy, don't need to think about it project. So I met Sarah K Stitching 2 weeks ago for coffee, and this is what I brought. So I am working on the 1992 Santa, and actually I don't have this yellow. I have to go buy it today, believe it or not. So I am using an 18 count oatmeal. Wow, I just had a lot of trouble saying that. An 18 count oatmeal Ada and the called for DMC. And this is where I am. So I really wanted to work on that big jacket, but I don't have the yellow, so I have to go get that. He's coming right along. I love that lobster. I think that's adorable. This one is actually pretty easy because the border is very simple. Normally I put the whole border in, but there's a lot of breaks in the border for like the boots and the backpack and his hat and the fish and everything. So I'm just putting the border in as I get to it. So like I said, this one's very easy. I've been doing it in hand. And that is my Prairie Schooler Santa 1992. I think that's maybe like a fifth of the way done. I have not been stitching or walking on my lunch at work. I've kind of just been sitting there brain dead. So hopefully I get over that this week. So the next thing that was called in my rotation was actually perfect because Ash Wednesday was 10 days ago now. And this was called, it was called the day after. The first thing that my house robot called was a new start. George decorates for Martha, and I don't have the floss on cards yet, so I was like, oh, no. And this came up, and it was perfect because one, it's one color, and two, it was my Lenten start last year that I really didn't get any work on. And that's the Prayer of St. Francis by My Big Toe Designs. I am doing this monochromatic on a 36 count winter white by hand dyed by Stephanie. I'm 90% certain. And I'm using DMC 154. It's this beautiful, rich purple. I bought this fabric to do Pandemic by Long Dog. And instead I decided to do this piece. So I have plenty of the DMC, I hope. Although it's DMC, I can get it anywhere. But I have used, so I just took 4 hanks of DMC and cut them already, and I've used almost very close to the whole first. I do the loop start, but I'm using 2 threads over 2. I picked this up, like I said, on Ash Wednesday, and my goal was to do the top border. I'm sorry, her picture is very small. So the top border, and then I was like, well, maybe I'll do the top row of letters, which I did do. So the top border didn't take long. I think it took me, I had the first like 5 of these done, the crowns. And then I finished all except for the last 2 on one Sunday. And then I think that Monday and Tuesday morning I did the letters, and then Tuesday night I just put some of the row of stitching in because I wanted something easy to work on that I didn't have to think about. And then when I ran out of room in the hoop, I didn't move it. So I love this. I should just work on this because my grandmother's name is Frances, and this is like her and my favorite prayer, and I have a book that we have that is the prayer. It's beautiful, and I would love to have this hanging in her bedroom, but that's not who I am as a person, so we'll just keep on stitching. I am thrilled, of course, to have gotten across the top and that it fits. I don't have a ton of, there's like 1.5 inches here because the project is quite big and I was worried about not having enough room. But now the more I think about it, because I'm doing it monochromatic, I'm pretty sure I'm going to change this to something smaller because I think you will lose you'll lose it just being purple, and I'm not going to add in any more colors. I love the purple for Lent. I love the monochromatic. I love being able to just load up 10 needles and just go, 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 go. I do think that was a big part of how I was able to do this so quickly. I didn't have to change colors. All I had to do was count and go. So I might pull this out again during Lent, but we'll see, because like I said, I am working on getting through my 20 projects before I move on to anything else. So there's that. And then I did have a new start. Hang on, let me get it because I can't quite reach it. Hold, please. So this next one is a new start. It's number 20 for the year. I saw this on one of the cross stitch Facebook groups. Somebody had posted their finish and I was like, I need it. So I couldn't find it. I didn't know what it was called. It looks like there's a movie from the 70s called Santa Claus is Coming to Town. It's about this little village with mice and people, and Santa's mad at them and he doesn't come, and it's like my favorite. And I made my friend Sarah watch it this year on Christmas. We always watch movies after everybody leaves Christmas Day. And I saw this, and this piece is that movie. So I couldn't find it, didn't know what it was. The person who posted the picture was not responding to anyone's request to find out what it was. So I texted Michelle McGraw, and I should have known that she would know. Because she was like, oh, that's a Stitch Rovia piece. Who knows that? Michelle does. So it's called Santa's Coming. By Stitch Rovia. It is the most delicious 1970s piece ever. I love it. Love, love, love it. So it calls for either DMC or Anchor. I decided to use the Anchor because I bought the whole set of Anchor. I'm sure you all remember when my Joann's was moving and the Anchor was like 30 cents each or something, and I just went hog wild. So this was a new start. The other nice thing about Anchor is it's on spools. So, well, what you get at Joann's is on spools. So it's very easy, you just go. So I had decided I was going to start this, but I was holding off. I actually had planned to work on it, to start it before the Prayer of St. Francis. But I was like, no, I'm not in the mood for a new start. Got to be in the mood. So I had gotten this little card for my Anchor flosses for this project. They almost will all fit. I think like one or two I might have to double up. And then this was very, very cheap and it was on sale, so I'm not gonna, maybe I'll keep it, I don't know. But turns out I did not have 5 of the Anchor colors, and I had to do an order through Everything Cross Stitch. The one in Ohio, the online one, I love that. They're a great retailer. I've always been very impressed. I love 1-2-3 Stitch, but for like lavender and lace, which is what I buy a lot of, they are very good. So anyway, I bought the anchors that I still needed, and the rest I have right here. I'll take them out of this when I put it away today. And then I am using a 14 count Star Ada from Hobby Lobby. By star, they mean it's shiny. It's real pretty. I highly recommend it. I had it in stash. So really for this project, I had to buy the pattern, which I think was like $5, maybe a little more, and the 5 skeins of anchor that I didn't have. And I could have shifted to the DMC for those colors. I chose not to. I just think it's easier to pick something and stick with it. So last week when I was going to show this to you, I was 20% done. I'm now 50% done. This Stitchrovia talks to Pattern Keeper like that. It's great. Highly recommend. So it's been wonderful because you can click a color and it highlights it, so you can just bump around to just that particular color, and then it tells you how many stitches you've done, and I love it. Highly recommend for digital patterns that talk to Pattern Keeper. So here's what I have so far. Oh, I love it so much. So you can see that tinsel in there. And then I started down here, and the holes are with the colors that I was missing. I love it. Oh, I love it so much. There's a lot of backstitch though. And Pattern Keeper doesn't backstitch, so I will have to print out the pattern for that. I guess I don't have to print it out. I can just, Pattern Keeper, you can view the PDF. But like the strings leading from Santa down, that's all backstitch apparently. The color for the stars is, I think it's this one, but I'm probably going to pull out a gold thread and use actual gold thread. So yeah, my goal was to get this 50% done so that the next time I work on it, I can finish it. And I'm at like 49.75% done, so I'm putting it away. The big part is done. That's right here. Like most of that's in. So next time I will finish the village and get Santa in. I will finish this before Christmas because I am going to give it to Sarah as a Christmas gift. She doesn't watch this, so she won't know. I'll have it framed at Hobby Lobby. She loves Christmas, and I try to give her not religious Christmas gifts every year. And I just think this is the perfect thing for her, and I truly think that she's going to love it. Why can't I get this in here? Hold on. Okay. So I just got that put away, and I noticed that I forgot to put this in there. Of course. So now that that's finished, I did ask the house robot to pick another number, and they picked George Decorates for Martha, which I'm still not ready to work on. So when they picked again, they picked number 13, which is Lavender and Lace Nantucket Rose. So I did have that scanned in at Staples with the plan of using Pattern Keeper for it. However, I'm sorry, I hit you with my scroll frame. That's not going to work because when you scan in a document to put into Pattern Keeper, you have to put the grids in, and I just can't get it. So when I got the tablet, I bought something called Note Shelf so that I could put in the planner that I bought from Quirks and Stitches, and I had the stunning realization that that was a PDF reader. So I uploaded the PDF of Nantucket Rose into that, and I can highlight the stitches as I finish them and zoom in, being the biggest thing. So anyway, this is Nantucket Rose. I have a very small start on this, and my goal for this time will be to work all the way across, just so I can see, one, that I have enough fabric, which I do, and because I'm doing it on scroll frames, I'll start at the top and work my way all the way down. The colors for this are delicious. I don't know how else to describe them. I'm using the called for DMC. This took forever to put on these. I did this myself. I didn't pay my friend Susie to do it. Thought about it. My favorite colors are Dusty Rose and Green, and so this pattern is just, oh, I love it. So here is the first round of colors, but she's a big old one. So I do have all the extra flosses here. I kitted this up from Everything Cross Stitch. Like I said, that's where I get my lavender and laces from usually. I had initially dyed a fabric for this. It's actually the fabric I used for Sister Redempta's piece. And it ended up not working. And then I went through my stash, and this is a Seraphim fabric. And it is stonewashed 32 count Lugana, and it is a yard of it. And let me show you what I have. So not much, like I said, very little, but that's okay. I am very, very excited to work on this. And then I think the only thing I have left to tell you is the little bit of haul I have. Like I said, I had the Stitchrovia pattern, and then I had the 5 anchor flosses. Well, I couldn't just buy 5 anchor flosses. So I went to Everything Cross Stitch because I like their website, and I picked out a couple of the Marilyn Levitt in Bloom patterns that I don't have. So the first one is Fallen Roses. This is a lavender and lace. This one I did not get kitted up. I just bought the pattern. I also got a monochromatic lavender and lace, and then I got one of the Amish pieces that are Butternut Road, and those two had to be ordered from wherever they order them from. So I got the floss for the Butternut Road one, but it's not here yet. It'll be here next week. They do ship separately, which I was thrilled. I was a little nervous that the other 2 patterns would never come in, and because that's what I bought the floss for. They said yes, they are coming. I did not get the fabric because the fabrics called for were like a rusty color, and that's not my thing. I'll use a different color fabric. But yeah, that's it. That's my little bit of haul. Oh, and I got this at the Target dollar spot, and I think it's the cutest thing ever. It was, I think, $3. Yeah. It's a little chicken with glasses. Oh my gosh. Is that not the cutest thing? So this is going in my dough bowl. And that's all I've got. So I hope that you're all well. I can't wait to get back with you. I don't know if I told you, I've worked on 9 of my 20 pieces because the Prairie Schooler Santa hasn't come up in my rotation, but I have worked on it. So 9 of the 20, and it's the 4th of March. So hopefully by the end of June, I'll get through all 20, and then I can start the rotation again. So anyway, thank you so much for being here. I will talk to you all soon. I hope this was at least half as good as the video I recorded last week that didn't take was. Stay safe, happy stitching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.